recognized symbol of excellence for your entertainment.
Do you know what scares me? People who don't use their local library.
Welcome to Machino Music, the show that puts the music in Machino music, with your host, me, Brett Strong. Today on Machino Music, it's another trip to the library, Rock Autobiographies, Part 2. Okay, I've gone to the library here at Machino Music Studios and took out some more of my books. I did a Rock Autobiographies episode, I don't know, somewhere. A few weeks ago, months ago, whatever. I don't remember these things. And I realized I got a whole bunch of other books I got to talk about, so I'm doing part 2. This is the one I'm currently reading. I mentioned this on my Spice Girls stuff episode. Melanie C. The Sporty One. It's a good book. Good book so far. Really liking it. Got my Marilyn Monroe bookmark, of course. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. Looking forward to really getting into stuff about the Spice Girls. So yeah, pretty good. So let's go with this one. Next up here, Nothing to Lose. It's a story of Kiss from 1972 to 1975. They call it The Making of Kiss. Just like everything from when the band started right up to like just a huge when they just really blew up with the Alive album. But yeah, this is really cool. It's like a big oral history. It's like interview style from all these people who worked with them. Comments from everyone who ever played in the band during that time. I think even has some of the current members talking in here. Yeah, really cool. It's just all really cool pictures throughout. I mean, look at that. It's classic. Love that. Like, just like black and white pictures. I mean, there's like really cool. There's even a photo in here, if I can find it, of like Paul Stanley's early makeup. Yeah, here, right here. You get Paul Stanley. This is his early makeup idea. Got a big photo of that, kind of like a Lone Ranger mask. Was it going to work? You know, what was he going to call himself? He couldn't be the Star Child. He needed to be the Star Child. That's who he was. But like when he got the Lone Ranger mask, what was he going to call himself? The Ranger? No, not going to work. But yeah, really, really cool book. Definitely recommend this one if you're a Kiss fan. Just, it is so good. Even there's a thing in here mentioning that their opening act used to be Kenny Kramer, the real-life Cosmo Kramer. The inspiration for that character, he used to open for Kiss because he was just a local New York stand-up comic. And yeah, right in here it says that he used to open for the band. How cool is that? So yeah, I love that one. Next up here we got High Voltage, The Life of Angus Young. At the time they were calling this AC/DC's Last Man Standing. Because at the time when this book was released, like the future of AC/DC was kind of like undetermined. I mean, Malcolm Young had just died. Brian Johnson had to take some time off because of some hearing loss, and not from amplifiers, but from, he just loved motor racing and just forgot to put like the headphones on, so you know the guy went almost completely deaf. But he's okay now. Yeah, at the time the future of the band was like really undetermined. So that's why they called the AC/DC's Last Man Standing, because Angus Young was he was the last guy standing. It's such a great book. Love this. Pictures, great pictures all throughout here. I mean, classic schoolboy outfit. Love it. Yeah, this is such a great book if you're an AC/DC fan. Like just the whole history of the band. It's so good. And what's really cool is there's a glossary in the back here, which is just like a whole discography. Like everything up till, at that time, what would have been the Rock or Bust And then they just recently released the album Power Up. Great album. But yeah, it's really cool. There's a whole glossary in here of just the album. So it's like a checklist. And it's like, okay, so good. Love it. Here's some pop. Gotta have this. Jessica Simpson, Open Book. Of the pop stars, I was never huge into Jessica Simpson. I really liked Jessica Simpson. I was, more Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, ones like that. She kind of came a bit later. But, she told her story, and she's, like, really, really honest in this. It's called Open Book for a reason. And it's just so good. And it just her, like, really just, she went through some stuff. And she doesn't pull any punches. She doesn't hold anything back talking about her relationships. Which is like, whoa, okay. The whole thing with Nick Lachey and her time with John Mayer kind of paints John Mayer in a light where you go, oh, he might be a scumbag. But yeah, she just goes all for it. Love that. And she reveals stuff in here that she actually almost made it onto the Mickey Mouse Club when Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera were on there. So she could have been a Mouseketeer at the same time as those two other giants. So yeah, such a good book. I really enjoyed this one. For something different, if you're just, would recommend it if you're, kind of somebody that's kind of misunderstood, but she's got a great sense of humor as well. It's a really funny book. So yeah, Jessica Simpson, so cool, love it. Next we got Nikki Sixx, The First 21. This is everything up till the creation of Motley Crue. Like everything that made Nikki Sixx, as we know him and know Motley Crue. All his influences. He lived in many different states and cities and just pretty well all over the United States he lived until finally settling in California and creating Motley Crue at that time in history, that boom of the glam metal. And really, they were the start of it all. And it's just such a great book. And he explains the whole thing. And that's what I really respect on it. He explains the whole thing of why Motley Crue decided to go back out on tour. Because there was that whole thing, they made like the big deal about like, we're never touring again. And they had like a whole funeral and like a whole, just made a big deal out of it. And then they said we're going out on tour again. And you're like, oh, really? What's the point of all that? Well, he explains it in this book, and it actually kind of makes sense. They realized, we've got this new resurgence of popularity with the Dirt movie, and the Dirt, of course, is a crazy book. But they made the movie of it, and that started to get noticed, and they had new songs that they did for that, so they had some new tunes, kind of like, hey, we got some songs, new songs we can play. We're not just playing the same old thing. And also he realized they'd never played a stadium. Motley Crue had never played a stadium. So like, well, we got an opportunity now to play a stadium. Let's hook up with some other big bands from the time. That was a big spit I just did right there. But let's hook up with some other bands that were big at the same time, and let's make a go of it and sell out some stadiums. And they've done that. So that makes sense. That was like a bucket list item that he realized, hey, wait a minute, we never did this. So I can respect that. Really cool. But yeah, I'm a big Motley Crue fan, so yeah, and if you are, I'm sure you'll really enjoy this book. Dig it. Okay, I'll get this one out of the way next. Big son of a bitch, this book. Billy F. Gibbons, Rock and Roll Gearhead. This is just basically the history of Billy Gibbons and ZZ Top. It's so cool. Like it's this huge coffee table book, and it's just like everything that makes Billy Gibbons who he. Some publishing thing. It's like a magazine. Damn cards fall out of it. But yeah, look at that. It's cars and guitars, basically, this whole book. It just shows all his different guitars. I mean, look at that. So cool. I mean, if you're a ZZ Top fan, I mean, there's been books written about ZZ Top, but this is like a definitive. Like, if you're like, this is the one. This is an essential if you're a ZZ Top fan. It's just everything. The whole history of the band. And the, just, you know, all the things that make Billy Gibbons so cool is this book. Love this one. So good. Got this. I take this out. Rock Chronicles. It's the 3rd edition. Been a whole bunch of these. At the time I got this was the most up to date because they will put, like, if somebody is like passed away, they'll update it. So at the time I got this, David Bowie had passed away, so that's in here, that updated. And Prince had passed away, so that's in there. But it's like just everybody you can think of. I mean, it is in here. It's so good. I mean, I've just gotten into a lot of bands that I kind of didn't think much of, or kind of, you know, never really paid much attention to. I've got back into those bands because of this book. It's so great. Just information about them, just like a page or two, but still a lot of stuff in here. Here's a thing on the Kinks. I mean, just like, so kind of just 2 pages, but it's like, you know, just pack so much information in there. So cool. Crew. Got like a picture page for some of them. All these different photos. It's just really, really cool. Motorhead. I mean, just so many bands in here. Love this. The Library Journal calls it a welcome and heavily used addition to any rock and roll buff's library. Well, you know, I'm a buff. I'm a bit of a buff on quite a few things, but, you know, I'm definitely a rock and roll buff, so gotta have this book. Thought I was taking a pile of, like, magazines here. Not really, like, actual books, but they're pretty close to being autobiographies. A couple of these special edition magazines. This one on Van Halen. Really cool. These ones you see in the checkout counter. It's kind of like an impulse buy. Walking by in the, you know, the grocery store there, and I see, oh, hey, Van Halen. I gotta get this. So cool. And just pictures going through every album, every era of the band. So cool. Yeah, dig this one. There's Eddie on the back there. A legendary King Edward. I'll be making music till the day I die. And he did. He was making music till the day he died. Got this one on Guns N' Roses. Really cool. Just again, entire history of the band. Everything you'd ever want to know about Guns N' Roses. There's Axl Rose's mugshot. This one on David Bowie, Rolling Stone. This is really the only reason to buy Rolling Stone in recent years, is when they do these tribute issues. I mean, this is just so cool. And this has like the final years, like it goes right up to the end. If I can find that photo. Like the last known photo of... This is one of the last known photos. He was dying, and look at how happy he is. Dressed nice, he's like, hey, if I'm going out, I'm going to look good doing it. Man, if I was on my deathbed, I want to look this good. Man, inspirational, love it, so cool. I mean, it just goes up to the final album, Black Star. And what an album to go out on. Yeah, huge David Bowie fan. If you're a David Bowie fan, I mean, this is obviously like out of print now. But, I mean, there's so many books written on David Bowie, but this is really cool. Rolling Stone doing a tribute. And they got this one, Keith Richards. This was from his 75th birthday. Can you believe he's only 75? I mean, look at him. a life this guy's had. You'd think he'd be a lot older. But, yeah. But, I mean, this is just everything about Keith Richards, everything but Rolling Stones. Love this. Just so cool. Yeah. A pirate looks at... He's 44 here. A pirate looks at 44. Insane. But yeah, it's just... tells you all about his guitar technique, everything. Goes through all his songs, albums. That's what all these do. They go through like all the albums song by song. So cool. Love it. So there's just some more of my rock autobiographies that I have in my library here at Machino Music Studios. I probably have more. At some point I could do like a part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6. Because I got so many more books like this, and I'll probably be getting more because, you know, these artists are going to keep putting out books. There are going to be books written on them. So, I'm going to be getting them. Big fan of this stuff. And, you know, want to learn about your heroes, no better place to go than, you know, picking up a book. So, there you go. There's Rock Autobiographies, Part 2. That's it for this week. Until we meet again, this is Brett Strong saying good journey.